Greetings and salutations, dearest viewer. Welcome back to yet another episode of The Nazis and the Supernatural by Michael Fitzgerald. Today we will begin reading Chapter 4, The New Teutonic Knights. If you haven't already seen the previous parts, I highly recommend you watch them. So you're not confused for this one. Also because I get more views for it. So yeah, if you want to do me a favor, you could go back into the playlist, watch those first. Um, while you're on my channel, maybe like and subscribe. It's free. You can always undo it if you don't feel like it. And yeah, without further ado, let us begin Chapter 4, The New Teutonic Knights. The original Teutonic Knights flourished during the Middle Ages, leading crusades against the pagan Slavs in Prussia and even as far east as Russia. They saw themselves as warrior missionaries, spreading Christianity by fire and sword. The SS, as visualized by Himmler, was designed as a conscious revival of the earlier order, exemplifying Nazi ideals and helping to disseminate them throughout the world. Himmler genuinely saw the SS as an order of knights motivated by the Nazi code of chivalry. Nazis appropriate the image of the Teutonic Knights. From the very beginning of the Nazi Party, the power of the symbolic associations of knighthood in general and the Teutonic Knights in particular became a device used by the leadership to attract support. As early as 1920, during the Nazis' first election campaign, a picture of a Teutonic Knight was displayed representing his patriotic desire to protect the eastern regions of Germany from Bolshevist Russia. The knight was represented as being swordless, as a symbol of the country's extensive disarmament following its defeat in the First World War. The message of the poster was that although the knight still wished to defend his nation, he was no longer able to do so effectively. Mein Kampf saw the process of mythologizing mythologizing carried much further. Hitler argued that it was the historic destiny of the German people to expand to the east, and the knights who had conquered Prussia and other parts of Eastern Europe were held up as images of courage, duty, honor, and patriotism. Foundation of the SS. The SS was originally founded as a small unit designed to be Hitler's personal guard. At the time, the SA was seen as his main power base within the party, and the SS was regarded as little more than a decorative addition purely for his personal protection. In the beginning, it was subject to the authority of the SA and looked upon as very much a junior organization with no real significance. The appointment of Heinrich Himmler to the position of deputy of the SS changed that perception dramatically. Himmler was not a man with a commanding presence and was certainly not physically anything but an advert for the supposed Aryan racial ideals of the party. When he took part in the 1923 Munich Putsch, he hardly distinguished himself. He was part of a picket outside the War Ministry whose members were arrested after the police broke it up. With the notable exception of Himmler, even with a loaded gun, he was not considered important enough to arrest. He caught the train home and brooded over the failure. As a result of the failed Putsch, the SA was banned by the authorities, and on his release from prison, Hitler set up the SS to replace it. My bad, I had to take a sip of Arizona. At the time, it was seen as a purely temporary measure, but Himmler, who had become secretary to Gregor Strasser, soon changed that. Strasser was a rising man in the party, and widely thought of as a possible alternative leader to Hitler. The SS had limited duties at the time, as well as being Hitler's bodyguard. They also sold advertising for the party newspaper and gathered information about political opponents. Himmler filed, coordinated, and analyzed this information to such good effect that he attracted attention at last. In 1925, he was appointed deputy leader of the SS. Himmler turns the SS into an elite corps. Himmler took his new position very seriously, and within a short space of time, he had turned his small group into an elite force of men who were smartly turned out, totally disciplined in stark contrast to the rowdy brawlers of the SA, and completely loyal to the party and its leader. Hitler's opinion of Himmler's character was no higher than before, but he certainly realized that he had underestimated his abilities. The result was permission to expand his SS contingent dramatically, and to make him the custodian of the blood flag of the Nazi Party. Himmler regarded this as an honor and a sacred trust, and by 1929 he had turned his unit, of which he was now the undisputed leader, into the most reliable section of the entire party mechanism. By 1931 it had become a serious force within the party. Once Hitler came to power, its numbers expanded considerably, and in 1934 it was entrusted with the job of purging the unruly SA. From that moment, it became the dominant force in Germany, and Himmler the second most powerful man in the country. To Himmler, the SS represented far more than a bodyguard or even an elite fighting force. He saw it as a knightly order devoted to the ideals of Nazism, and as a most as much a chivalric order as the ancient medieval knights had been. When Himmler became the leader of the SS, he added an extra layer of mythological and occult fantasies to the existing medieval romantic dreams of German nationalists. He conflated elements of the Knights Templar with the Teutonic Knights, as well as adding other aspects derived from various secret societies and magical groups. Himmler saw his new knightly order as the highest expression of Nazi values, and his new Teutonic Knights as a modern replacement for the aristocracy that combined the functions of warriors, scholars, educators, priests, and rulers. They would be trained in a closed order and work through creative action to dominate and govern the world. Himmler's obsession with medieval Germany led him to see the SS as an instrument of revived feudalism, with the Führer playing the role of king and the members of his Dark Order as feudal lords, owing allegiance to him but with extensive authority over the rest of the population. The SS was divided into squadrons, each bearing a name with some kind of knightly association. Himmler's view of the SS as a knightly order was widely shared. The organization was perceived by the majority of Germans as an elite body whose members represented the best of Nazi ideals. During the probationary period before acceptance, many candidates were weeded out as unsuitable. Himmler was particularly anxious not to have homosexuals or alcoholics in his ranks, a stark contrast to the far more open membership of the SA. If they completed the training successfully, SS applicants swore the Siebenheid, the kith and kin oath. The motto of the SS was "Mein Ehre heißt treu," my honor is my loyalty. This was also inscribed on the daggers they wore. Rudolf Höss, a leading member of the SS and later commandant of Auschwitz, declared, my apologies. I don't know why I'm stuttering so much. That's my bad. We were told all the time we were the elect. We were to be the Führer's and Himmler's special instruments for creating a new Reich. They became our conscience. We lost our personal moral self-determination. Principles and training of the SS. The principles governing the order were expressly stated to be courage, loyalty, obedience, and honor. In the distorted idealism of the Nazi ethos, mass murder was seen as a sacred duty and equated with self-sacrifice and martyrdom. Like their medieval precursors, the new Teutonic Knights of the SS made war against the Slavs to the east of Germany. The black clothes of the SS aroused more terror than any other Nazi or German uniform, even that of the hated Gestapo. Himmler was proud of the fear the black uniform of his order inspired, and worked hard to increase the degree of terrified respect in which it was held. The SS candidate had to spend a year winning his sports badge before entering the labor service, and then spending 2 years in the army. Following an intensive course designed to reinforce his indoctrination and loyalty, he would be admitted to full membership. The ceremony of his induction into the SS always took place on the 9th of November. On that day, he went to Feldherrnhall in Munich and at 10 p.m. took part in his joining ritual. At this ceremony, he swore an oath of perpetual and unconditional loyalty to Hitler. One SS man described the scene. Tears came to my eyes when, by the light of the torches, thousands of voices repeated the oath in chorus. It was like a prayer. The Black Hundred. In spite of the relentless conditioning and depersonalization, Himmler was always concerned about possible disloyalty. A special inner circle, nicknamed the Black Hundred, had the task of seeking out any possible doubters or treasonable tendencies within the SS. Robert Ley warned them that he who fails or actually betrays the party and its Führer will thereby merely be deprived thereby merely be deprived of an office, but he personally, together with his family, his wife, and his children, will be destroyed. When the Austrian academic Stephen Roberts questioned some SS members about the Black Hundred, he was told that loyalty mattered above all else and that it was necessary for any potential traitors within the organization to be weeded out and dealt with. Even allowing for an understandable reluctance to express doubt to a foreign writer, it is almost certain that there were far fewer instances of disloyalty or even disillusionment among the members of the SS than those of any other Nazi organizations. Himmler's brainwashing was extremely successful. And we are going to end it short today. This is a pretty short chapter, so we'll probably be able to finish this up tomorrow when I upload that video. But for now, I'm going to cut this one short. My homeboy wants me to hop on the game, and unfortunately, I have to answer that call, because am I simply not going to hop on the game? That would be fake of me. So, you know, I'm going to cut it here. We'll pick up tomorrow in what section? Let me double check. The SS is an aristocracy of race. And I will see you all then. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Have a nice rest of your day. And I will see you in the next episode. Enjoy.